We walked the halls of PCA together, learned the focusing approach from Mr. Lee, sang the school song, laughed, cried, and moved on to the next chapter of our lives. But once a Lion, always a Lion. Thanks for making time to re-engage with your PCA family. We want to know what God is doing in and through your life. I'm Alex Bellamy, class of 2006 and Director of Alumni Relations. Welcome to another episode of our alumni podcast, Life Talk. All right, we are here to just chat about our alumni flag football tournament.
Alex, it's one of the most fun things that we do every year. I'm not sure when it started and when it became a tradition, but I'm glad that it's held on. And it's one of the biggest events that our alumni show up to is the annual flag football game over Thanksgiving break.
Yes, consistently one of the most well-attended events that we have. It is so much fun. Who doesn't want to go out and run and burn off some of those post-Thanksgiving calories playing flag football with your high school friends?
Amen. And I hear you secured Tony Romo, who's a PCA parent now, to come out and be one of the all-time quarterbacks. Is that right or wrong? Is that a done deal?
That is incorrect, but I can work on it.
Okay. My bad. Jumped a little bit ahead of that. So give us the details on what we have done.
So Lion Stadium, Friday, November 29th. Thanksgiving is so late this year. I am jumping the gun, but it is Thursday, November 29th. No,
it's Friday.
Oh my gosh.
No, you're good. Thursday's Thanksgiving. Let's just get that out of the way.
Friday
is the game. 29th. What time in the morning?
10:30 a.m. Lion Stadium. We have a link that you can register online if you want to bring a team or just show up and we'll put you on a team. But 7-on-7, just your good old-fashioned flag football.
Yep. Now, I know last year you had some lunch things afterwards. Is that available too?
So we will have the Hamburger Man out again. He is just our tried and true post-flag football feeding. So hamburgers, hot dogs, come eat. We'll have everything you need.
The Friday after Thanksgiving, starting at 10:30, Lion Stadium. Be there. Link will be in this podcast, which is going to be Vinny Sigona, right? One of our alumni. You guys want to listen to this podcast because it's a really, really awesome story.
It's a great story.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks. All right. We are here today with Vinny Sigona, a 2022 graduate. And we are just going to hear, what have you been up to since you started?
Vinny Sigona. Man, you got to say it the right way. Actually,
Vinny Sigona.
We just got done, right, with Vinny having church in chapel.
We sure did. It was great.
Vinny brought a message, and it was powerful, man. It was awesome.
I appreciate it.
You did more in 20 minutes than most people do in hours.
I think it was just the Lord for sure. I hope it was. I hope it wasn't me.
No, but it was. But you allowed him to really speak in a way that our students could really connect with. And the things that you're saying resonate with what other people are saying. But it's just so neat to hear a young person, right, bring that same message. It was hard and heavy. I mean, it was good stuff. So I appreciate you coming back and sharing that with the students. But that's
it was great.
Right, for the alumni who are listening,
right?
They want to know a little bit about Vinny Sigona. Right, what's the story? Tell us. Let's start with when did you come to PCA?
So I came to Prestonwood into high school. So my freshman year of high school was in public school all growing up, and that was 2019. Mm-hmm. Yeah, going into 2019. So that was when I began at Prestonwood. Growing up public school, son of a coach. My dad's a college basketball coach, so kind of my community as a little dude, 6, 7, 8 years old, was kind of 18, 19-year-old basketball players. So naturally, that's kind of what I was chasing and kind of what I wanted to look like. And that was kind of
necessarily the best environment.
Yeah, some great guys and whatnot, but I think everybody can understand, like college basketball players, might not be the number one, role model you got for – a 7-year-old. So,
and you shared that with the guys, right? Yeah. You shared that at chapel, just how your decisions at that particular point in life were kind of like worldly. I mean, you have worldly pursuits, right? Worldly. The spiritual part really wasn't there.
No doubt.
And yet, you were a good kid. People would look at you and say, "Hey, Vinny's a good kid."
Yeah, if you ask my teachers, growing up, and I think that's the thing. If you ask like teachers and whatnot, people, was I a good kid growing up for sure? And my parents, definitely imposed a very strong. Sense of right and wrong, and I believed in God, knew the Lord's Prayer, right? I said it on the way to school, but that relationship with Christ wasn't there, and the gospel wasn't there. I didn't know I was a sinner, until I just had to become overly like overwhelmingly aware of it, you know,
Yeah.
when I had to face like what could be consequence or, you know, fear of people finding out. And so at that point, you know, that was when I had experienced like actual shame and like weight from bad choices. So, you know, I just didn't become aware that I was a sinner until about middle school.
Yep.
You know, so.
And then you went on a mini-mester trip.
Then I went on a mini-mester trip. And before that mini-mester trip, you know, I really got into this cycle in 8th grade and kind of going into high school that, you know, for the weight and shame I had felt and for the bad decisions that were starting to catch up with me, that I was going to make up for that with good decisions.
Sure.
And so I really went on this very I strained really hard to like make up.
I think it's where most people are, right?
Right.
My good outweighs my bad.
Exactly.
And my bad is kind of like stuff that I'm hiding anyway.
Right.
And my good I focus on, and everybody talks about
No
that.
doubt.
But people think that's religion.
No
right?
doubt.
My good
What
outweighs
can
my
I do,
bad.
right?
What can I do?
Yeah.
Oh, I did something bad this weekend, so man, I gotta do some extra stuff good. And
Right.
You fell into that.
Oh, I fell into that big time. And just, you know, really too, and part of that is just being unaware of the depth of sin that you actually carry. You know,
Amen.
like, oh, here's a decision there and a decision
Right.
that. And you lose sight, you know, at that point you're blind to the depth that goes down
Yeah.
to in your thought life and
your sin
everything
is
you're seeing.
Your sin is offending a holy God.
Oh.
and you're holding a door
It's-
open
it's
for
so-
somebody. and
it's
you're
so
thinking,
much
"Look, it's-
deeper."
right,
Yeah.
my good's countering my bad, and God's like, no,
yeah,
it's not.
No doubt. And that affects the way you think in every aspect theologically, because at that point you don't know what you don't know.
Yep.
And at that point in my life, it was just, okay, I'm going to make up for good decisions. But the problem was, you know, that trying to effort and make good decisions never took that weight off.
Yeah.
And I just had that weight of still just like carrying some of the things I had done. And, you know, so mini-mester, you know, I'd never been out of the country before, never really seen much outside of nice America, you know, basketball and whatnot. And so, man, the Dominican just opened my eyes to so much. And I remember just going out to the village and we're playing ball. And, you know, that's like where I thrive. I love that environment, people competing and whatnot. And you got guys playing hard with no shoes on, you know, and I'm like, man, I got teammates with 20 pairs of shoes that never play that hard. And just really was opened up to like how big God is, you know, and that he was sovereign in America, but that he was sovereign in the Dominican. And these people had a lot less than I did and were a lot more joyful. And where did that joy and fulfillment come from? And seeing that being Christ. And then Pastor Shivers obviously sharing the gospel after the games and just talking about the greatest love story. And when he said this, it was like, you know, Christ did what you could never do. Like he's already paid the debt. Like you can never work your way up. Like he's done it because he knew you couldn't. And when that clicked, that was the first time it was like a light bulb went off, you know, and that was the first time that clicked. And so I was just so relieved, you know, just like so like, oh my gosh, like I've been missing it. And I remember just like running to my hotel room that night and accepting Christ and just thanking him for like doing what he knew I could never do.
Yeah,
so.
The debt was paid.
The debt was paid,
The burden's lifted.
And I physically felt that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I remember because when you're in that season, you have like this butterfly feeling in your stomach, you know, almost like in that weight. And man, I physically remember just feeling the freedom, you know, and the joy of just being like, you know, obviously I'm so far from perfect now. There's a large sanctification process in front of me and whatnot, but like I know that I'm set free and that doesn't define me, you know. So that was just so freeing. I remember that freshman year, and that trip means a lot to me.
Yeah,
so.
you actually got baptized.
Got
in
baptized
the Dominican,
there,
right?
And that's a cool story because, you know, that night it was like, okay, I'm going to get baptized, and they tell me what that means. You know, it's just an outward profession, you know, of an inward decision, and it was like, okay, yeah, cool, I'm down with that. It's exciting. And we're gonna go to the beach, and I was like, man, this is dope. I'm gonna get baptized in the beach. Let's go. This is awesome. And like 30 minutes later, it was like, well, we got to go to the airport, and we're not gonna have time, so we're gonna do it in the hotel hot tub. And I was like, man, I'm like 30 minutes into being a Christian, and I get demoted to the hotel hot tub. And but no, that's genuinely such a cool story because I didn't really go into it for time's sake with chapel, but I think two of us had like just accepted Christ. Two of them had been Christians, but just wanted to make the public profession. And so, so we're getting baptized in the hotel hot tub there at the resort, and this couple walks along, and they're watching, and they're curious, they're asking questions, and you know, they had never, I think it was Germany, but they hadn't been on like a vacation or left Germany in like 25 to 30 years, and you know, just didn't know what we were doing. And so it was a cool way to just sow a seed and tell them what we were doing and about Jesus, and we got to pray with them, and man, it's just such a cool opportunity. And you know, obviously I don't think that's a coincidence, you know, moments like that. And so I kind of look at it, the hotel hot tub, man, it was a God moment. So it's cool.
That is
That's a great
so
story,
cool.
too.
Yeah.
No
Now,
doubt.
you also shared a little bit about your journey, right, with basketball.
Yeah.
And how God's kind of deepened you really through some hardship.
Yeah.
So share a little bit about kind of how that journey's
No
gone.
doubt. I mean, basketball has been a long, high-low journey for me ever since I was 5. And the reality is, man, I'm super passionate about it. My dad's a coach. I mean, it comes easy for me to be passionate and compete and love the game. But even into high school, I come to Prestonwood High School and kind of knew that I was capable of being like a good player, successful player, and obviously seen a lot of guys go Division I and kind of know what it takes. But there was a lot of highs and lows. Even when I look back in high school, COVID happened,
Yep.
right? So my 16 summer, which is a big recruiting time, was pretty much shut down. And then I came back my junior year, and that was kind of the COVID year in college. So every player that's in college gets the year back. So instead of recruiting
Or
high
2
school
or 3
kids,
or 4, right?
instead of recruiting high school kids, everybody's back, right? And then so then after my junior year, which was a great season, I break my foot going into 17s, which is probably the biggest recruiting period of your high school career.
Yep.
And it just seemed like, there were so many moments where even I played good, and for some reason, like there was some political stuff, media outlet stuff, and for some reason I just felt like, man, I could never shine through. Like I felt like the game was there and the capability was there, but God just never allowed me to kind of get into the light of it. Like there was a level to it, but I wanted like more. And
Yep.
that kind of revealed where my heart was at, in the sense that it was still about me. Basketball was still about me. And at the end of the day, I had a great high school career, in the sense that, man, I just had great teammates, and Coach Clarkson really poured into us and made us better players, but more importantly, discipled us. And that's what I'm so thankful for in my high school career. And so then I ended up with 2 options, Louisiana and Texas A&M Commerce, and I knew that Louisiana, probably have a chance to go to the NCAA tournament, and I felt very capable of going in there
Yep.
to kind of make some noise and maybe get some opportunities even as a freshman. I just felt like I was good enough, and so made that decision. And knew right away that, hey, we're going to be really good. And there was a lot of older guys in front of me. So, but with that, coming January, I got a stress fracture in my leg, and, was going to be out for a while. And the thing that was frustrating was that was a week after the midway point in the season. So I lost my whole eligibility for my whole freshman year, and in a sense just wasted the whole year.
Yeah.
And so, that was really tough. And so the other thing is, in high school, basketball was going for me, and it was a very easy way to find comfort outside of Christ. Maybe where I didn't realize it, where I was getting some sense of fulfillment and identity in it. And so when it was taken from me at school, being away from home and then taken from me there, it was like I really kind of got to learn what it was like to lean on Him alone. And I think it was the best thing that could have happened. I wouldn't change it. And then obviously I was getting ready to come back for my sophomore year, thinking like, all right, my time's coming. Like I've been waiting, still training, doing physical therapy. I'm shooting. My shot feels great. And honestly, when I came back for a couple months of training and practice at Louisiana, I had a great couple months, and I'm thinking, man, maybe I can really get in this rotation. And tore my hamstring, and with that, pretty much was going to be out for the year, and just kind of in that situation again to just kind of redirect my focus to Christ and lean into that, and really revealed what my purpose of being there was, and it wasn't to play basketball. And I wasn't perfect at this at all, but kind of to be a witness, to my teammates and to the people I was around. And I think if you ask people that were there, I hope that's what they got, from me. And
well, you shared a quote with the students, and I don't know if you remember the whole quote, but it's Ray Ortland, and you're talking about how Satan's not afraid of our brilliance.
Yeah, Satan's not afraid of our brilliance. He's more brilliant. Like he's not afraid of our good behavior. He can twist morality into hypocrisy.
Yep.
And then I kind of forget the end.
Basically, he's afraid of those who are
he's
broken
afraid
and
of,
wounded.
and so then he goes into, he's afraid of someone like shattered, heartbroken, so much so that, all they have left is Jesus, and to Jesus they turn.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt, like, that's what I felt in college. And I'll just be honest here, like, I went into college, and, some things happened very fast, like in life, and all of a sudden, like, all right, everybody's at A&M and Baylor, and they're just having a great time. And on Instagram, like, you see all the pictures, and it's just everybody's having a blast.
Yep.
Seems like freshman year of college is the best thing ever. And I'm pursuing my dream to be a Division I basketball player, but, like, obviously, like, I'm not touching the floor. Like, things aren't going well. Like, I'm going to the gym at midnight. I'm lifting early in the morning. I'm putting in the work. There's really no results. Like, I'm not in Louisiana. I'm not going to the club with team sometimes, Friday, Saturday, this and that. So I'm kind of just alone in my apartment, so it's very kind of a lonely time there at times. And especially freshman year, I didn't really have any like-minded community early on. Mm-hmm. And so, man, all of that, just kind of little things that piled up, and that was definitely a season where it was just like, Jesus was like, listen, like all these little things that you're kind of getting peace, comfort, like I'm going to take those, okay, because like I'm all you need.
Yep.
And in that season, that's where I got to learn that, man, I grew so much. That was the first time the word became like medicine, is what I kind of say. Like I remember going to class and just being in just kind of a down headspace, being like, man, I just want to get home and read the word. I'd never been in a season like that.
Yeah.
And even in high school, like, oh yeah, Romans 12:2, or like, yeah, John 3:16, things. But I wasn't. It's not like I'm waking up, spending intimate time with the Lord. And so in that season, that's where I really got to kind of learn how to do that.
Yeah.
And
it's funny how he peels away the things,
no doubt,
right, that we put in place of him. But once we have that relationship with him, then he can add those things back in because they're not our idols, they're not our gods,
no question,
right? And they're tools and instruments that we know that we can use for his glory.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things you talked about, to the students too. Is
yeah.
I mean, you said it really well. If you've got,
we all have gifts,
lots of talent in that room, right?
For
Gifts
sure.
and talents, whether it's athletic,
For
artistic, academic, right? But you said if you're not using it for the Lord, then you're wasting it.
Yeah, it's just worthless.
And I was like, man, that's pretty powerful.
It's absolutely worthless. Well, that's just the truth. And to be honest, I've seen success be the worst thing. Like I think I don't know if it's Psalm 34 or Psalm 37, but don't fret for those who kind of gain in their own way, and wait for the Lord and commit to His way, and He'll do it and whatnot. And man, like I don't think success is always from the Lord.
Yeah,
like it's very dangerous. And like to be honest, had I would have gone somewhere and had it early on, like I don't think I'd know the Lord like I do. Not at all. I actually know that for a fact. I wouldn't. And it could have been the worst thing for me. Like in high school, had some things gone different in my basketball career, and maybe I got some of the publicity I thought that my game deserved or whatever. Like I think at that time, like God couldn't have entrusted that to me, because it would have been a lot more about me.
Yeah.
Maybe in disguise about Him, but not really
yeah.
to my heart's core, if that makes sense. So I think I just, at the end of the day, like kind of had a redirect and like a reminder moment, like, man, like me playing basketball as much as I love it, and honestly, I probably love it more now because of I'm not doing it for myself.
Right.
Why do I actually do it? My why is greater than like the adversity part. Like I know that like the injuries, like that just gives me an opportunity for guys that are going through that to be like, hey, I've been in that. And so I keep working on my basketball career. I believe the best days are ahead of me. Like I work really hard and spend a lot of time, but at the end of the day, like the results are surrendered to Him. And like I know I'm here right now playing for my dad at Collin County this year, and I just have a great opportunity in that locker room, to be a witness. And now being at a Division I program for 2 years, I'm able to be a leader and kind of have seen a lot. And so I got a few teammates coming to the porch with me and whatnot.
Yeah.
So just little
and honestly,
opportunities like that.
It's just kind of a blessing, because I know your dad's at a program, right? That's like you've been at a better program, but like playing with your dad and for your dad,
nothing like it.
That's just kind of a special thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I look at LeBron James and gets to play with Broddy, and
right.
How crazy is that? Like,
it's awesome.
I mean, that's just one of the great things. Like, I enjoy spending time with my kids.
Yeah.
Right. I think your dad's got to look at you and say, I would love for you to be somewhere else and be successful.
Yeah, for sure.
But there is something sweet about just being with your son and watching you grow and mature as a man and as a player at the same time.
No question. And I think to that, it's like it almost just feels like this crazy meant to be thing. And there's been the reality is my dad's had a ton of really good players. He's coached a lot of really good guys. And Collin, people don't really know about the level of basketball that's played there and the level of guys that have come through. Like, just for example, having like the second leading scorer in the Big 12 just 3 years ago or whatever. And so a lot of people had been wanting me to play for Pops. And I think at the end of the day, like, I trust God's sovereignty and that He has a really cool story that He wants to write. And there's no doubt I think that it's all for a purpose. And so it was really an easy decision. And, I mean, playing for my dad's really cool, kind of practicing. And I'll just say this, my dad really knows what he's doing, and I've learned a lot. Even though I grew up going to practice and was around, like, actually playing for him and being the point guard, we watched film together a lot more.
And you're like, whoa.
And, I learned a lot. And a lot of guys have taken this route and gone through Collin and been successful. So there's a blueprint there for success, if you want to do it. So just excited to try to enjoy it with him this year, for sure.
That's a pretty wonderful thing for
really
you.
Special
and
moments. For watching you be a leader too on that team. I mean, it's the proof of his hard work that he's put into you.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
so I'm excited.
Okay, so just life recommendation for alumni who are listening, right? Here's the deal. They're listening. They got the story. They got the update on Vinny, right?
Yeah.
They're going to be looking for you, right? Not only on the court, but just,
Right.
You talked about it. You're in a good community at church, right? You're surrounding yourself by good people who are speaking into you, right? What would you say to that guy or that girl who's listening, saying, "Hey, Vinny, I understand. I'm going through a struggle as well right now," right? What words of encouragement would you give to them?
To not grow weary.
Okay.
And doing the right thing, like Galatians 6, to just stay grounded and stay firm in truth, like try your best, no matter how you feel, not to be formed by the heartache or by the feelings, but to hold fast to truth, like in the midst of hard times, and know that hard times are a blessing, if we receive them the right way, if we can endure it, knowing that like it'll turn to, strength and perseverance for us, and knowing that like God is probably closer than ever before in those hard times, and that's really, there's an intimacy there that I don't think you can have elsewhere. And there's, to me, like there's always purpose in pain, like great pain makes like for great purpose, and God has an incredible plan and purpose. And so I'd say that just lean into his word, at the end of the day, like his word stands true no matter what. Like this world will continue to change. Like Hebrews 13, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, forever. And the more I've been able to just cling to his word, no matter what happens to me that day, no matter how I feel, no matter what's life throwing at me. I mean, I think, in the last 2 years there's been a lot that's been, I just feel like everything's crashing down.
Yeah.
But the more I know his word and the more I can stand on that and his truth, it's a firm foundation for me, and I can know what's true and I can keep going in that. Yeah. And so in those hardships, I think I can make myself available to be used by the Lord.
Yeah, I love it.
Knowing his word. So just, I'd say
God,
know his
God
word
says
and stay grounded.
Yeah, he's near to the brokenhearted.
Yeah.
Right. So when you're in that time where, and you said it, when you're on you had, in chapel, you had like the wide road and the narrow road. And you said you had those days where, you're on the narrow road and you're alone.
It'll be lonely for sure.
There's a lot of people doing a lot of things that you can't participate in because they're not what's God honoring and they're not what's beneficial to you.
No doubt.
And so you have to say no to a lot of things. But the yeses that you're saying, right, to time with God and allowing him to deepen you, right? The concept is that's better than. So it's like we're not giving up something that's great. Right, we're actually getting something that's great by saying no to something that
worth it.
Right, that might seem like it has a temporary, right? Like that was a thrill. It's like, right. What's the cost for that thrill?
No doubt, no doubt. Very temporary.
It's a good reminder to the kids, and I think it's a good reminder to our alumni, right? As they're walking with the Lord, they may feel like they're alone, but spend time with the Lord, and He'll grow you.
Yeah. No question. I mean, y'all know probably better than me, more life and whatnot. There's going to be just the highs and lows. You're old. I'm calling you old, Mr. Panetti. No, she's not old.
I know.
Yeah, she's not as old as you. I won't offend her like that. I can offend you.
Alex doesn't age, so I'm right there with you. But yeah.
No, but you know what I mean, and you know that there's just highs and lows of life, and you go through things. And I think I like what it says in Matthew, though, that the narrow road is hard, and the wide road is easy. And I've seen that. Definitely in college, man. Like all that's so easy. It's going to be right there for you. Like the enemy is always going to have a boat for you. Like it's right there, and it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. And so no matter where you're at, just lean into the Lord, find community, pursue Him, and He's so worth it. So.
Man. Vinny, we're super excited about just the work that God's done in you. I'm really excited because you it's weird, but you encapsulate why we do Minimester.
Exactly.
A lot of people think we do Minimester because we want to send kids and share the gospel around the world. And I'm like,
don't realize how much it's for them.
Right.
It's for these
and
kids.
It's so funny because you can't tell a kid, here's the deal, which is great, right? Which is great.
And it's about everybody, right? It's about everybody.
But our students, what you said, when you walked into the DR and you're like, well, I've never been here before, and I've never seen this before, and just that experience alone is so valuable. But then, as
get out of the bubble,
as Pastor Shivers is sharing the gospel, and you're like, wait a second, it's for our kids too.
There's no question.
So it just why we do Minimester. I keep on reminding our parents about it all the time. It's like just understand. I know we're taking a week off before spring break, and people are freaking out. It's like, wait a second, but they are life-changing experiences. So I'm glad
that is a consistent theme in almost every podcast we've done. It has been Minimester.
How valuable and how
over and over.
No question.
Mm-hmm.
How awesome it is. So it was great. I'm glad you got to see a lot of the same teachers.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They were hugging on your neck, and for those especially
people are so special.
Who had you your freshman year?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I almost shared, for the sake of time, I had to cut some stuff out, but I was going to talk about Miss Lichty constantly having to kick me out of class. And Mr. Nichols at that time was English right next to her, and man, he wasn't happy with me.
He shared, he goes, the first time I met Vinny Sigona, right, is Lichty kicked him out and put him in my room and said, welcome to seeing Vinny.
He was upset with me, and I think I had my own little 214 language thing going on. For those of y'all that graduated with me, if you're listening, and she couldn't understand what I was saying and whatnot, but no, you know what though, that's why Preston was so special, because of the people that poured into me and the people that God had put in my life and the community I had, and like those teachers in the midst of seeing what a mess I might have been coming in, like man, those teachers poured into me with truth. They were patient and kind with me, and man, they loved on me, and that's why God was able to do what He was able to do, because I had people that were actually actively walking with the Lord and seeing real faith, from people walking with the Lord just went a long way, and that education, with those people in front of me and those examples made all the difference. So I'm so thankful for the people and the teachers I had here and all the people that poured into me for sure. So that's what makes this place special. It's not the building,
It's the people.
Couldn't agree more.
Yep, and it's people like you, right? They get to take the message and allow God to use it wherever you go. So we're excited about what God's got next for you. And just wanted to say thanks for coming back, and thanks for being on the Alumni Podcast.
This was fun. I appreciate it.
Great.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Life Talk. I pray that God is doing something amazing in your life, and I want to make sure that we stay connected. Check out the show notes below for more information. Remember, you are loved by a good God. Be blessed and walk in a manner worthy of His calling. Until next time.